Hi, my name is Abigail Swann, and I'm going to talk today about some work we've been doing at the University of Washington in the Department of Atmospheric Sciences to make our graduate admissions process more holistic. We acknowledge that there is much work to do across many facets of our department as well as our discipline. Graduate recruitment is only one aspect, but it's a major gate through which we all pass, and it's what I've been asked to talk about today. We've been working on changing our process for about the last 4 years, and we expect that we'll continue to adapt it over time. So how did we come to this process? Well, our graduate school offered a training on creating a more holistic admissions process, and members of our department's Equity, Diversity, and Inclusion Committee attended the workshop and brought back recommendations, which we followed. Our goals were to create a process where we had more useful information to assess the potential for success of applicants in our program that didn't rely on metrics that we know are not accessible to everyone. And this is really hard, and we're continuing to work on figuring out how to meet that goal. We felt that the personal statement prompt is particularly a place where students are not given very much guidance for what is expected, which favors students who don't have access to mentorship. Additionally, much of what students write is not actually that useful for helping us make decisions about admissions. So we thought the prompt could be a lot more explicit in guiding students to give us the information that we actually want to know about to assess their potential for our program. We decided to start by figuring out what characteristics make our students successful so that we could specifically ask questions which prompt students to tell us about those things. So as a committee, we also wanted to get departmental buy-in both to change the process and for what those specific characteristics were that we wanted to assess. So the department's Equity, Diversity, and Inclusion, or EDI committee, organized a departmental workshop for students, postdocs, faculty, and staff, where we asked small groups to brainstorm the key characteristics that make students successful in our program, and then we shared across groups to find common themes. Using those common characteristics that emerged from the workshop, we created a more specific personal statement prompt, as well as a rubric to evaluate the whole application. We then shared the draft of that with the department and revised it following comments. When then we used that in our next application cycle, we assigned every faculty member a set of applications to review and score using the paired rubric. Additionally, any candidates that could be identified as contributing to diversity in some way, flagged by reviewers or self-identified, were given additional review by faculty on the EDI committee to carefully consider how to match the opportunities we have in the department with those applicants. After going through this process, the EDI committee proposed to the faculty to drop the GRE as a requirement for applications. It was generally popular but not unanimously supported and took some conversation over time. Eventually, we dropped the GRE with near unanimous approval, and we redact those scores if students report them. The numbers are small, so it's hard to know if our changes have really made a significant difference at this point, but we have been successful in the past few years at recruiting students who identify as Black, Indigenous, or people of color to our program. And we plan to track the success both of our admissions process in terms of recruiting these students, but also their success in our program and beyond as part of our department's EDI plan. So what are some of the remaining issues? Well, we really like that our essay prompt gives a much more explicit information about what we expect students to tell us. However, only about half of applicants actually follow the directions and answer our questions. So it's hard to evaluate the applications where some people followed the directions and some haven't. So we're looking for ways to make it more obvious that students should answer our specific questions. We still need to work on aligning our process with our rubric and making sure that the rubric gets used in a consistent manner. So some ideas that we have about how to do that are reducing down the number of faculty doing the initial reading of applications so that we can make sure that they're really well versed and trained in how to use that rubric. And other application materials remain biased, and opportunities are not equally accessible to all applicants. So how do we deal with this? One particular one that we worry about is that we do strongly favor students who've had at least some research experience in a STEM field because our program is very research intensive, but not all students have had access to undergraduate research opportunities. So we welcome more ideas on this. One that we've come up with is that we're looking into starting an RU type summer internship program where we can help provide more of those research opportunities to the community. I feel strongly that the specific admissions prompt is giving better guidance to students, and when it's done well, is more useful information for us for evaluating applications. However, I do realize that we're asking students to do more work to write something specifically for our department. Personally, I would love to see this type of specific prompt requested by all schools across the geosciences. Perhaps this is something we could consider as across the network of groups that are assembled here. Or perhaps consider even more drastic changes, such as a central application through which students can be matched to programs more like a medical residency. I'm really excited to hear about what different pods will come up with in terms of suggested solutions to issues associated with equity in graduate admissions. And I thank you all for listening.